Hi, Elle Ingalls here at elleingalls.com, pressure-free.com. Welcome to Living Pressure Free with Elle. I am the creator of this thing called the Pressure Free Method. It's an on-the-go stress management method that you can use to instantly and effectively reduce stress, anger, and anxiety. I want to take you back 40 years. I don't know what it was about this day, but it reminded me of one of the most impactful things that ever happened to me. I was at a party on Bear Island in Lake Winnipesaukee, and the party had been going on pretty much all afternoon into the evening. And I wanted to go out on the end of the dock to watch the sunset, just by myself. After playing with kids all day and hanging out, I was 18 years old. I think I was almost 18. And I got to the end of the dock, and I'm just sitting there by myself. Everybody else is up by the house, and suddenly one of the people who was a family member of the place where we were, he came out and sat down next to me. And, I'm 18. He's like, I don't know, 40 or 50 years old. I have no idea how old he was. And didn't know him very well. And he said some rather interesting things to me. So I thought, okay, I think I better pay attention here. Do you ever have a conversation where you're like, I think I better pay attention here? That's what this conversation was. So he said to me that he had been observing everybody during the day, and he noticed that I had a lot of influence over people, like the other kids. I was like the oldest kid, I think, there that day, and so we were water skiing and playing in the water and doing all this stuff, and he'd just been observing it. And he goes, I'd like you to consider reading a book, and he gave me the title of a book to read. And then he also said to me, to consider that with every one of our actions can be used for good, and they can also be used for something not good. And so can our thoughts. And that was incredibly powerful to me. Like, I'm sitting on the end of the dock. Here's this guy. He's an officer. He works with juvenile court and helps youth. And he's saying this to me. And I'm thinking, wow. So every action that we have has a consequence. And what we do can be for good, or it can be for evil, or not so good. So I went back to college, and I got the book that he suggested I get. It was by this person, Shakti Gawain. I read the book, and I began to understand how to really, I guess in a way, be an activist for change and an activist for good. And I really took it to heart. I took what he said that day to heart, and I thought, okay, each one of us has an incredible amount of personal power. What are we doing with our personal power? How are we being in our day? If I hadn't read that book and also had so many other experiences in my life, I never would have come to this conclusion in 2010 of how to create the pressure-free method, how to actually pull all of that together for good, so that I could help people not stress out anymore. Because it's when we're stressed that our actions tend to be not so good. We say things we wish we'd never said. We do things we wish we never did. I can go back in my life and I can pinpoint them. I wish I'd never said that. I wish I'd never done this. So it's very clear to me when we're not in the stress response that we have that ability to really see what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're saying. When we're in fight or flight, we can't even really hear what we're saying. And this whole outer brain is depowered. Like, we're not really thinking very logically and very fully. And I love it when I can help people start to experience what it means to use their full brain and to activate all of this incredible personal power that we all have. So I just want to sit for a minute and just be so grateful that man took the time to talk to me that evening. It's kind of a brave thing to do. I'm sitting out on there on the end of the dock, I don't know what the people up there were thinking, seeing this occur, but I am so glad that he did. And maybe there is someone in your life who has come forward to you and made a difference in your life and said something. I was coaching a client this morning who said that thing about me. Like, I had shared one little nugget with her a couple of weeks ago in a coaching session, and she's like, that is making such a huge impact in my life right now. And so I never know which one of my pressure-free tools is going to help you, by the way. That's why in my course I have so many of them. There are over 40. And that's because, again, you're unique. Your personal abilities are unique. And also your stressors are unique. Like what causes you to feel angry? What causes you to feel anxious? What causes you any sort of overwhelm? I've also been doing research lately in the difference between physical stress and psychological stress. And a lot of things you read about stress, even in textbooks, like psychology textbooks and things, there's a lot of misinformation based on the science that I've been doing, the research I've been doing the last, 30 years in some cases, and very seriously for the last 10 years. And so, so it can be really confusing to people. Here's what I've come to learn from working now with hundreds of people privately and thousands in groups. Every person is unique. I will have a client who, when they go into fight or flight, has instant diarrhea. And then I'll have another client who's very constipated. It's like so many different effects in us. And one person may feel something. And that's why we can be very judgy about our stressors. And it's like, well, why is that causing you any sort of anxiety? I mean, it's not a big deal. But for that person, it is a big deal. You don't know what their childhood traumas were. You don't know, how much do we ever know about any one person? So I'm super grateful that that conversation happened on the end of a dock in Lake Winnipesaukee. It's a moment I will never forget in my lifetime. Hopefully I'll never forget it. And I don't know, I just feel very blessed because it certainly put me onto an interesting path. That one book led me to other books, led me to other books, led me to deeper research. And so now, I just, like I said, I was diving really deep into the big research today. And that's because it fueled a passion for me. How can I do good in the world that's going to help people unlock their full potential, which is what Pressure Free is all about. So I'm wishing you a great pressure-free evening. And again, like there might be someone in your life I'd love, if you want to put a comment down or thank that person today. Or if they've passed away, then thank them in the universe, because there's people who've made differences in our lives. And I've been getting some really beautiful notes from some clients through these last 3 months that it just warms my heart to know that I helped somebody make a difference. So have a great pressure-free night, everybody. Bye.